Welcome to a new week with the Electric Trucker. This week I'll head briefly to the UK, and later I'll check out fully electric refrigerated trailers that have a battery, regenerating axle, and can be used by electric and diesel trucks alike. For a special job in the UK, we need to inspect the goods and figure out the best way to transport them, so I'm heading there by car. I'm not driving my Hyundai Ioniq this time because my boss gave me his Tesla Model 3 long range. It's much better suited for long-distance travel because it plans all the supercharger stops for you. I actually considered taking one of our new Dacia Springs, and knowing my boss, he probably would have said yes if I'd asked. But I'm really glad I didn't say that out loud. Because let's be honest, the Dacia Spring is definitely not made for long-distance driving. What I just noticed on the P&O ferry is that there are charging stations all over Deck 7. That's actually a great differentiator in the ferry business. Being able to charge your car while you're crossing would make lots of electric car owners prioritize those ferries. I went to check out the load on site, and since it's a top secret transport, I couldn't film anything for now. But the issue is that the area is super tight, and the weight is also a bit tricky. It's around 2.7 tons, so we'll probably need to lift it with a crane. But setting up or renting a crane is complicated, so it looks like I'll be taking the Volvo FL Electric with the mounted crane to the UK. I asked a few crew members about the wall boxes. The first said they're only for refrigerated trucks, the second said not on this ferry, and the third said they don't work. So these charging stations are for trucks, they don't exist, and they don't work. But they are glowing green, and the sign says 30 kilowatts at 1000 volts. So technically I could even charge the truck here. If I used the 2 hours I'm on the ferry to charge, that'd be about 60 kilometers of range. That's a pretty useful option. It's a new day and I'm sitting in a different car again. I'm in our workshop car, a combustion Fiat with manual transmission. I'm heading to Iveco in Bremen because one of our trucks had to be repaired. I'm now at one of Iveco Nord's satellite locations, and here's our Iveco truck. It had the same coolant loss issue as mine, and even after topping it up, it didn't help. The truck has multiple cooling circuits and valves that can switch between them or transfer coolant from one to another. Turns out one of those valves was broken and pushed coolant out through an overflow valve. That valve has now been replaced and everything's working again. It's really astonishing how such a small part can stop an entire truck from working, but that's not just something that happens with electric trucks, it can happen with combustion ones too. Now I'm picking up prefabricated wooden houses here in the region. They're all neatly packed and will be distributed onto different trucks at our depot. I only need to secure everything with straps and then head back. So, it's a pretty relaxed tour today. I'm back at the yard and wanted to show you our construction site, Volvo FL Electric. It has a crane mounted on the back, which I need to use for the transport to England soon. And one Volvo FM Electric has now been fitted with a hydraulic setup for a walking floor trailer. The Volvo is well suited for that because it still has a PTO on the gearbox, which means the hydraulic pump can be powered directly through the transmission. There aren't many electric trucks that are shipped with hydraulic drives yet, so it's pretty cool that this can be retrofitted as well. Now I've got the other low bed trailer attached. The special thing with this one is the remote control that allows me to steer it. You can see how I can turn it left to adjust the steering. The trailer now needs to undergo a safety inspection. All trucks and trailers not only have to go to the technical inspection annually, but also a midterm safety inspection after 6 months, where similar things are checked. The trailer has successfully passed the safety inspection, and now I'm at rewritten. They specialize in refrigerated logistics, and I'm here to take a look at their electrically powered refrigerated trailers.
We mainly operate in the ultra-fresh segment, and we already have 13 fully electric refrigerated trailers from Schmidt's Cargo Bull. The main difference compared to standard refrigerated trailers is that instead of a diesel tank, we have a 32 kilowatt-hour LFP battery. The battery can be charged via a standard CEE connection, the same one used to power the refrigeration unit electrically, and while driving the battery can also be charged through the middle axle. That means the trailer regenerates up to 6 kilowatts and can produce up to 20 kilowatts of electricity while driving. Although this increases energy consumption, the battery buffer means the axle doesn't need to charge constantly, so overall you actually save about 5% on fuel compared to a diesel-powered trailer. The battery alone provides enough energy for 3 to 4 hours. So if the tour is relatively short, energy consumption is even lower since you're only using the battery. When combined with an electric truck, you lose around 650 kilograms in payload, but that's totally fine for us because weight isn't a critical factor in the ultra-fresh segment. For the future, there are plans to increase the battery capacity to 100 kilowatt hours and skip the regenerating axle, which would make the trailer usable in almost every situation and even long-distance deliveries. And as battery prices are still falling, we might see the first trailers with a big battery rather sooner than later. Here's where the battery indicator is located, and the controls are pretty much the same as on a conventional refrigeration unit. Battery temperature is especially important here because the trailer is using an LFP battery. The colder the battery, the less power it can deliver or charge. So we always aim to keep the battery temperature above 5 degrees Celsius. But since we do the pre-cooling via the CEE socket, the battery is conditioned at the same time. That means there's no need for any additional charging infrastructure. So even if your fleet still consists entirely of combustion trucks, you can integrate this trailer seamlessly. And this isn't a pilot or test vehicle. This is full production. You can order them like this. We have 13 of these trailers, but only one electric truck so far. So they are being pulled by conventional diesel or LNG trucks. You don't need an electric truck to gain the benefits. And the trailers max out at 60 decibels, which is much more pleasant for the driver and for all the other drivers nearby at a rest stop. We want to decarbonize our fleet as quickly as possible, not just for financial reasons, but because we have a huge impact when it comes to CO2 emissions, and we want to leave behind a better world than the one we found. We've set ourselves the goal of not buying any more combustion engine vehicles. Right now we operate 73 trucks units and 105 trailers. On the trailer side, we already have 13 electric ones. On the truck side, we're still a bit behind. We currently have the FH electric from earlier, and soon we'll be adding 2 eActros 600s. We're now at the back of the company yard, where several charging stations are set up, so we can charge both the e-truck and the trailer at the same time. On top of the warehouse roofs, we have a 1 megawatt solar installation, which will soon be complemented by a 2 megawatt battery storage system. This way, we can charge our vehicles with green energy regardless of the time of day. Once we get the eActros 600, we're going to try running our diesel cooling trailers using a 400 volt 3-phase power outlet on the truck. That way, even a diesel trailer could be operated CO2 free. For electric trucks, we reach break-even after about 3 to 4 years, despite the higher upfront cost. For trailers, the purchase price is still relatively high, so the break-even is around 6 years, but that depends a lot on how many cooling hours you have per year.
rewritten is part of a larger corporate group, which is why I'm here next door at Planworks. They focus on transforming buildings, meaning renovations, new constructions, energy efficiency concepts, as well as solar and EV infrastructure and software that links and integrates everything together. All of that needs to be visualized properly, and they did that right at the entrance. In the top left, you can see the utilization of the charging infrastructure. One of the charging sessions is actually my Ionic drawing 4.6 kilowatts. Then we have the cooling hall, which is being cooled based on the current spot electricity rate. When the price is high, it's maintained at 4 degrees Celsius, and when the price drops, the temperature is lowered further, turning the building into an energy storage unit. On the right, we see the dynamic electricity pricing curve throughout the day. At the top, it also shows that the solar system is currently producing 256 kilowatts. That's powering the cooling unit, the building's heat pump, and the chargers. But there's still excess energy, so it gets feedback into the grid. It's all visualized super clearly, and I think this is really a benchmark for how things should work in the future. The next step is to integrate the truck's charging schedules. That's why software development is so important, because different systems need to be connected. And then the system can always calculate the best time slots for driving and charging. I found it super interesting today, and my takeaway is really positive. But I think going forward, truck manufacturers and trailer manufacturers need to collaborate more closely. If everyone keeps building their own battery systems, chargers, plugs, and recuperation axles, it will still work, but it won't be the most efficient solution. And logistics is all about efficiency. I'm on my way back now, and near Kloppenburg, there's a reservoir where I'm taking my dog for a walk. We learned a lot again this week, and I'm already looking forward to my England trip in 2 weeks. So don't forget to subscribe and consider becoming a member. Then you'll get early access to the videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.